Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge. Alright, hello my friends and welcome to a little bit of a Throwback Thursday today. That's what I decided to do for my recommendation video today because I just couldn't settle on which trope I wanted to do or where I wanted to go, and I realized I hadn't done a random rec video in a little while, so it's fair that I can do one of those. I try not to just do one of those every single week because I love doing the trope videos. I just don't always feel inspired for which one. There are a couple taboo ones I'm kicking around wanting to do next, but I gotta hone in on them first, right? Those I don't like to rush into making. Even though they do quite well for my channel, I want to make sure they're the right taboo trope to do, you know. So today I was like, let's just do a generalized throwback. And by that, I mean, I ended up with books that all came out before this year. So some of them aren't particularly old, but I just wanted to bring back some, and some that I could hold in my hands and hold up so I didn't have to put up images. That'll make the editing easy. So sometimes it's working smarter, not harder. So these are not in any particular subgenre. I have some that are dark, some that are taboo. Some I have a sci-fi in here. I have a retelling. I have one that is a sci-fi dystopian. So we got all across the board. Yeah, but the kind of the tease I think that I'm doing for it is, you know, has someone read all of these? If you are someone who you have actually read all of the books I'm about to recommend, I would love to hear it in the comments down below. And if you have read all of these ones I'm about to talk about, I would love for you to tell me which one is your favorite so that we can, you know, encourage the people watching to start with that one maybe. Okay? So yeah, like I said, these are all across the board. So let's go ahead and get started. And I'm actually going to start with one that is quite a little treat for me because it is one that is from my author. And I can't believe it that this book is 12 years old already. In fact, no, I think it's even older than that here. It's actually, you guys are not going to believe this. You won't believe it. This book is actually almost 20 years old. And when I show it to you, you're going to be like, there's no way. But this is a Throwback Thursday, so it works out that it is. I only read it, I think, 5 or 6 years ago. It was one of the first books I read by my author. Yeah, it's went through a couple iterations, but it was originally released through Alora's Cave, which was this, I don't even know how to describe it because I wasn't really reading romance at this time. I was only like 12 years old when this came out. I had no clue about this author back then. And it was published under a pen name for her as well. So anyway, enough of that. But this is actually Hold. And this is the new revised, well, this edition of Hold isn't revised, but when it was originally released, it was a part of Alora's Cave. And it was under her Zanny Adams pen name, which was a pen name she had even before Noelle Adams, before Claire Kent. And this is a book that I think a lot have come to her by. It's one of her hallmarks, which is transactional romance. And I'll explain that in just a second in case you are unsure what that means. But this, a lot of people first come to Claire Kent through either Last Light, Haven, or Hold, or Escorted sometimes. But those are kind of the three avenues people come to Claire Kent through. And they're honestly all kind of transactional romances in some aspect, you know, having to do with love in a survival times. I mean, that is why the tagline for Claire Kent is love at the end of the world, you know. which I love. But Hold, the tagline for this one is find the strongest man there. Give yourself to him in return for protection. It's the only way you'll ever survive. And I just absolutely love this one. And it's so like entrancing because this type of story just like shouldn't work. It should feel icky. It should make you uncomfortable. And honestly, it still does make a lot of people uncomfortable. And there's plenty of people who have much to say about it, but I just love it. And you can actually get now this soft touch, the man cover here, on her website, and you can get a signed copy of it. And so she sent me this. That's why I was excited about it. She also does have, I might as well show it off. I have all of them, which is great. This is the cover that you can get on Amazon. This is the one most people are used to. But before this, this is what the ebook cover was. She's now made the front is kind of the back of this one. So there's that. I'll tell you more what this is about in a second. I'm showing this off. And then on her website, there's the bind up, the Hold series, which has all 4 books in the series. Let me see if the piece of artwork that's in this one is in here. Let me see. Oh, here it is. There's one of the piece of artwork in here. Does she have that in the back of this one? No, it's not in this one. But anyway, so now that I've showed everything off, the reason why Hold is a transactional one and one that people hear about. So this involves our heroine who, she gets sent to this prison planet. She is more a political prisoner than anything else, and she gets sent to this prison planet where she is one of only a few women who gets put there, and she gets warned by a guard when she's getting sent down that they say, literally, find the strongest man there and offer yourself to him. I mean, the guard is saying it because he knows how it is. He's like, offer yourself sexually to this man, whoever the strongest man there is, because otherwise you're gonna get torn apart. So just pick someone there, offer yourself to them, and be willing to do whatever he asks of you, and he'll protect you. And that's what she ends up doing, is offering herself to Cain. And Raina does that. And by offering herself to Cain, he actually has a room that he's able to lock behind him, which it makes sense once you read it. This prison planet, this prison isn't run the way you would expect a normal prison. The prisoners have kind of the run of the place, which is why she has to offer herself to someone there. But now that she's in Cain's grasp and is staying with him in his cell, she starts to learn how things run at the prison, and she actually learns that Cain may have a plan of escape from this prison, and offering herself to him might have been the best possible thing that she could do, in fact. So anyway, I thought this would be fun to show off because I wanted to show off the cool new / old cover, I keep saying that you can actually get on her website, and show off my collection of Hold right here, because I just love them. Another reason I love showing this off is one of the first projects that I worked on for Claire Noelle when I started with her was helping put together these special editions. And so I just have a really soft spot for all of them. So it's very exciting. It's very exciting stuff anyway. So highly recommend that one anyway. Okay, let's see. What else is a part of my throwback? I realized as I grabbed them that some of these kind of have a color feeling for it. But, okay, another one that I haven't talked about in a hot minute, but I absolutely love is Love in the Wild by Emma Castle. Okay? This is a Tarzan retelling, and this one has a bit of a wild man on it. Here's the back of this one. I love this one here. And this one is about Eden Matthews, who actually is going on a trip where she's planning to do photography. And when she's on this trip, the group that she's being like guided with ends up getting attacked by, I think it's like poachers / smugglers, and everyone she's with gets murdered, except right before something bad is about to happen to her, this gorgeous man comes out of the jungle and saves her life. And she meets this man who, I believe his name in here, sorry, I actually have to check. I think it's Thorn. Yeah, Thorn is what he goes by in here. And he has been raised by gorillas. And when he saves her life, she's compelled to find out more about him, discover how he's been raised by gorillas. And as he shows her where he's been living, how he's been surviving, she's able to put together a few pieces that, okay, well, he didn't actually just get born out here in the wilderness. So how did he land here? And she learns that, you know, he's from a family. What happened to his family? Are there still members of his family somewhere in the world? Are they still looking for him? How can she help? And so, yeah, it's a Tarzan retelling. And he's a part of actually a very, you know, wealthy and famous family. And as you read this book, you'll discover that. And what Thorn, once you start to get a bit of his perspective as well, you start to learn about why he would want, like, you know, how difficult it might be for him to go to the real world. Does he even want to leave the wilderness? What is waiting for him in society? Would he be able to fit in? And can he even be with Eden? Are they too different? Are they from too different of worlds? Is there any hope or possibilities for them? And I just really, really love this. And I think it strikes the right balance of, I don't find their story to be dark. I find Thorn to be very soft and sweet. There was a story I read, maybe it was 2 years ago. I read this one quite a few years ago at this point, honestly. I read this one probably, man, when did this one come out? I'm pretty sure I read this one when it came out. So like in 2020 is when I read this one. Emma Castle, aka, is also Lauren Smith. I really love Lauren Smith, writes historical romance, really like her. So I read this one 6 years ago at this point. Lauren Smith has also done a like Labyrinth retelling, which I really liked, and she's written a couple that are darker. But oh, that's what I was saying. I'm sorry. My brain is blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't consider this one too dark at all, especially the relationship between Eden and Thorn. It's very sweet, though Thorn may end up, you know, feeling some lustful feelings for the first time for a human woman. He certainly wasn't feeling them for apes. He's having a sexual awakening meeting a woman of his same age and body type, and that he can actually have awakened feelings for and things like that. It's such a soft story in that way. There was this other story I read just a couple years ago by Alex Grayson. I'm bringing this up because that is a type of like Tarzan / wild man retelling that is very dark, because when the Tarzan character gets a hold of a human woman, he basically is ravaging her, right? There's also the story called Roe, which is done more as like a caveman, but it's kind of a Tarzan one as well. Although that one I think is more caveman because Roe isn't the only man there. Whereas like in the Wild Man, the Alex Grayson one, and in Love in the Wild, it's a man kind of almost raised by animals. In Wild Man, he's like raised by wolves. In Love in the Wild, he's raised by gorillas. In fact, now that I'm thinking about it too, Wild Man is almost a bit more like kind of like Mowgli in that aspect then, because Mowgli was raised by wolves, right? So wolf brother and things like that. So anyway, my point in devolving into that discussion is that if you want to read a Tarzan retelling that is still quite sweet and doesn't go to the like non-con sides of things of like man discovering sexual desire but still being respectful, this is a really great one to do. I still enjoyed Wild Man even for where it went, because it kind of made sense in an aspect, even if it was like quite intense what happened to the woman in that one. But Love in the Wild, you don't have to worry about any non-consensual things happening. So anyway, moving right along. Sorry that I got a little long-winded about that, but I love Love in the Wild. It is one that I keep coming back to many times because it's just so sweet. It's such a good story. The audiobook, also very good, narrated by Shane East and Lucy Rivers, maybe, if I just remember that out of nowhere. I'm very proud of myself, but for sure I know Shane East does it, and it's very good. Okay, next, this is one I love sharing. I just love this one. This is a double single parent, and I just love this author so much. This is Hooked on You by Nikki Ash, and I just love this one. It's so sweet. Love this cover too, by the way. I'm actually very sad that I ended up so behind with this author, because she actually reached out to me again recently for her most recent release, but I'm like 3 books behind for hers, and I just can't catch up. I'm so behind in books, and I just want to be able to read a few that I want to read when I want to read. And so I've had to like say no to some, but I really loved this series, the Love and Whiskey series. And this was one that I love bringing up, honestly, whenever I can fit it in places. This one is book 2 in the series, but it's my favorite one, and it's a double single parent, and it involves Ryder, who has a really young child, who in the beginning of this book, actually, his wife leaves him when their baby is just a couple months old. So he has a really young daughter. And then we have Kira, who she also has a daughter, a little bit older than Ryder's daughter. And she has an abusive ex, and she really kind of had to make a run for it. And she's really struggling to make ends meet. And she ends up getting the job working at this whiskey for this, like, I mean, I don't think it's like just the whiskey company, but I know that the company makes liquor and things like that. I just forgot why did I forget the name of the company? I don't know. But anywho, and she ends up working at like the daycare at this. And so her daughter's able to stay at the daycare and she works it. So it's a really great place. But at night, her and her daughter are living in the SUV. And one night, Ryder actually like notices that like they're leaving at the same time. And he notices that she like takes the vehicle up to the top of the parking ramp instead of leaving the premises. And he's not trying to catch her and anything, but he's just kind of worried. He just has this sixth sense. And when he realizes that her and her daughter are sleeping in the parking structure, he can't help but have, like, honestly kind of makes me want to choke up. I don't know why. I'm just feeling emotional about it at this moment. Sorry. He has a lot of compassion for that. And a big part of it too, which I think Nikki Ash does such a good job, is that he had a wife who didn't want to be a mother, right? She wanted to catch the billionaire. That is why she got pregnant. And once they had this baby, which he was so happy to have a child, right? He ended up being very happy that this woman caught him with a child. But then she didn't want to be a mom. And then he sees this woman who would risk everything and give up everything to be a mom. And she's barely able to make ends meet. And he sees her and her child having to live in the SUV until, you know, not only because honestly she's like hiding from her ex, so she doesn't want to use what little money they have to like get out of place because she's afraid. Sorry, like I said, that just made me kind of emotional for a minute. So he offers to have her stay at his place because he has more than enough space. Again, he's a billionaire. And he also ends up offering to have her be his sole nanny. There's some like, I don't mean to go through every little detail of the book. You guys know I'm trying to keep things moving. I do such a great job at that. But part of it is that at the company where like she's working, his kid, I guess, is like the only one in that age group. And so they don't really need someone full-time to work for like just his age group. So he's like, well, what if you are my full-time nanny and you can watch both of our children, you know, both yours and mine, in the safety of my home. You can be my live-in nanny and watch my kid here, and then you'll be safe. And I just want to provide that for you and your daughter because I think you deserve this help. So then it becomes a live-in situation. Here is a cute picture of both of their daughters. This is his daughter and this is her daughter. They all have matching outfits, which I think is so cute. And then, of course, it's going to be a romance between the two of them when she's living with him. So I just thought this one was really well done. I thought that was, you know, he's just such a great guy. And Nikki Ash in that regards, so she's someone who loves writing secret babies and just really like twisting the knife in that regard. But in that one, that's not one that does that. And that's probably why that one's one of my favorites of hers, is because they both are single parents and they've had a tough go of it. And Ryder, despite how he's been hurt before, is still willing to open his heart to Kira and let her and her daughter in to his life and provide them a safe place. And in all honesty, in all the types of like millionaire or billionaire romances I've read, reading one where it's a dad who provides a safe place for a mom and her daughter, like that's the kind of swoony billionaire I love to read, where it's that I sweep you and your kid off your feet. That is a warm and fuzzy that I will always love. Okay, so now I wanted to do a throwback because I really can't wait to finish this series. I really can't wait to read the last book, but it's been so long since a book in this series has come out. I honestly forgot we were going to get another one because the author took a break to write so many other books in between, which is great. I'm glad she was waiting for the inspiration. But I wanted to talk about one of the earlier books in the series, just because. So I want to mention Sinner by Sierra Simone. And Devil is coming out next month, and I actually do have my ARC for that, though I am hoping to get the ALC because I just love her audiobooks. So I am holding out for the ALC, but if I don't get the ALC soon, I'll start the ARC. But Sinner is book 2 in the series, and this one is about Sean and Zenny. And I also want to show off that I did do Sierra Simone's Kickstarter, which was for the first 3 books in the series, getting mass market paperbacks of them that were like retro looking. So this is my copy of Sinner. I showed off the other 3 in a recent book haul, or the other 2 in the recent book haul. And I just think this looks so cool. So this is Sean, and then you open it and there's Sean and Zenny when they're about to go skating, which is so cool. So anyway, in this series, oh wow, there's actually a new blurb on the back of this one too. Let me read the blurb in the back of this one because I think it fits the story best. So this one says, "I'm not a good man, and I've never pretended to be. I don't believe in goodness or God or any happy ending that isn't paid for in advance. In fact, I've got my own personal holy trinity in the name of money, sex, and Macallan 18. Amen." So when the gorgeous, brilliant Zenny Iverson asked me to teach her about sex, I want to say yes, I really do. Unfortunately, there are several reasons to say no, reasons that even a very bad man like myself can't ignore. 1, she's my best friend's little sister. 2, she's too young for me, like way too young. 3, she's a nun, or she's about to be. But I want her. I want her even with my best friend and God in the way. I want to teach her and touch her and love her. And I know that makes me something much worse than a very bad man. It makes me a sinner. So I'm also going to read the other blurb because I think this explains things from Zenny's point of view as well. So this one says, he leads a life of sin and she's committed to a life of virtue. Sean Bell is not a good man, and he's never pretended to be. He doesn't believe in God or any happy ending that isn't paid for in advance. There are 3 words for men like him: playboy, womanizer, skirt chaser, sinner. When he meets a gorgeous college girl at a fundraiser, he has no problem telling her what filthy things he wants to do to her until he realizes she's his best friend's little sister, Zenny Iverson, all grown up. Worse than that, she's about to become a nun. I love what was important in each one. Zenny, though, isn't looking to play it safe during her final month of freedom. She wants to make sure choosing God is the right path, and to do that, she propositions Sean to show her every carnal temptation she's leaving behind. Unable to refuse, Sean finds himself falling for her body and soul and questioning not just the morals she's dodged for years, but his relationship with God Zenny has pledged herself to. The only problem is, what if Sean wants Zenny to choose him instead of him with a capital H? So yeah, that's cool how that goes. But anyway, this is book 2 in the series. So it goes priest, sinner, saint, and then devil is the one that's coming out. So just want to remind you about this one. I feel like a lot of people read priest and they maybe don't continue, but I love this series so much. So much. It makes me so happy. And yeah, just wanted to bring that one up. And then the last one I wanted to share, I love, and I got a copy of it for my birthday. These books are so cool looking. And I love it too because there's maps and glossaries. And when I read the ebook, you just can't fully like appreciate all of the details the author put in the book. Like the ebook's just really hard to go through. But I love this series and I love how much attention to detail the authors put in it. And I can't wait for the rest of the series as it's coming out. So this one is Born for Silk. And this is the first book in the Cradle series, which is a dystopian sci-fi series. And in this one, let me just read a bit of the blurb on the back too, and then I'll talk about why I really like it though. 1,000 years of climate change, genetic engineering, and war destroyed civilization as it was. From the remains came the age of the trade and the crown, a return for resources, security, and a meaningful purpose. Citizens accepted a life of service to the new world. The land became the cradle, and humankind was henceforth known as the cradled common. So in this one, people are put into kind of like different sects or different groups, and they have a purpose for their life. And so each book in this series is like titled something like Born For. So there's Born for Silk, Born for Lace, Born for Marble, and each sect like means something. And when you're born for silk, like in this one, the meaningful purpose for the heroine in here, Aster, is that she is someone who is a human bred to be able to provide a baby for the king or for one of the like top echelon. So it means basically that her genetic material is some of the strongest that there still is, and she'll be able to breed with some of the genetically engineered beings that they've made, which are almost like part cyborg, part human still, to make more people. And so the king, though, the way this works is that to keep them safe from basically like assassination from people who want to take down the trade, they're not supposed to know which woman will be bearing the heir until a certain point. So the king is supposed to sleep with multiple of these women as well. But I promise in this story, he basically picks one who is his mate and is only with her for the whole time. But that also could get him in trouble and possibly get him usurped if he isn't following the rules as well. So again, it's that kind of thing where like you're in a dystopian world where even the people who look like they have the most power, they could be taken out at any time if they're not following the rules correctly. So it's just a very interesting scenario, a very interesting world that they all find themselves in. So yeah, this is King Rome, and he's more monster than man. So he's genetically enhanced. He also has literally a cock that's like 14 inches long, and he can't physically put it all the way inside his woman. Like, of course, it has some weird kinky things like that. But then Aster, he meets her and falls for her, and it becomes very difficult to oh sweet, that's right, I forgot there's a picture. It becomes very difficult for him to want to continue on and make more babies with anyone else but her, because one of the things that has happened with the genetic engineering is that he's fallen in love with her, and trying to then fall in love, or he's not supposed to fall in love is the point. Trying to force him to be with anyone else is just not going to be as easy as they think. I was trying to see if there was room. There's also a sentient like eagle who is his like how do you explain it? Almost like his familiar, or like his partner in a way. I really love that as well. So anyway, it's weird to explain it as like a lot of dystopian sci-fis can be, but I think this one is just done so well, and I love this series. And Born for Silk is still probably my favorite one in the series, but I also really liked Born for Marble as well. So I can't wait. The next one coming is called Born for Fur, and I think that one will be really interesting as well. So, all right, there you go. Those are 5 throwback recommendation that I have for you. Again, if you've read every one of those that I recommended, I'd love to hear about it down below. If you haven't already, please like this video, hype this video. It really, really does help out my channel. I definitely would appreciate if you will share this with someone who you think might like one of these recommendations. I'll also have links to all these to all these books down below if you want to purchase them. That also helps the channel. And yeah, there we go. I will see you in the next one. Bye.